ladies and gentlemen, finally we're at the practical examples. And now we are going to be making a whole product render for a water bottle. And for this example, we're going to be using the water bottle that you have seen in all of my live streams. This one. And the model was graciously provided by my good friend Taimur Ali. So if you guys want to download the model, it's in the description. So just before we begin, what are the things that we need to keep in mind before we make any sort of renders? Number one, we need a good reference where the product is visible and the environment is actually relatable with the sort of product that we are doing. Point number two, no matter how chaotic the environment or how minimal the environment should be, it should always complement the product. The product shouldn't blend in with the product. With that information, what can we do with this product render? Well, basically, we are going to be recreating this image over here. Now, as you guys can see, it has rocks and it has a water bottle. But I'm going to be putting my twist on it and I'm going to be adding water in the rocks as well. So, without further ado, let's begin. First things first, we'll select our bottle and we'll start making the texture. Now, I want the base part to have a paint on it and inside it should be made of metal, something like what I actually own. So I'm going for that sort of a look. Now I'm going to be using this for my preview and I'm going to be using this part for my shader editor. So let me just put this into render view and we need to turn off the denoiser. Okay, now it's working perfectly. Now let's make our first texture. I'll isolate it so we could work on it properly. Now as soon as I make a new material, we'll get the universal material and I'm gonna be bumping up the metallicness all the way up, a bit of roughness, and now what I'm gonna be doing, if I scroll all the way down towards material layers, I'll enable it, then I'll get the material layer groups. In layer 1, I'll add in our first material, which is gonna be our diffuse layer, and for the second one, it's actually gonna be the specular layer. So for the top one, I'm gonna be adding in flakes and control shift click just to see them. I'll open up UV transform and projection, put the projection over here and scale them down. Good. Now I'll reduce the size of the flakes just like that. Increase the variations. Okay, these values look pretty good. Now I'll run them through a gradient map. Somewhat like that. For the black one, I'll make it green. And for this one, should be lightish green, a bit on the darker side, just like that. Now I'll go back to this material and take our flakes and plug them directly in towards our diffuse. Really, really nice. And as for our specular layer, I'll add a tad bit of roughness into them. Or better yet, just for extra photorealism's sake, let me open a bridge. I'll go to my library, imperfections, fingerprints. Let me just put this over here. Let's see how it's looking. Yep, should have guessed it. We'll just unwrap it. Cylindrical? Nope. Angle based? Okay, that did the trick. Now we'll just plug this back in. Let's plug it in towards our roughness. Get out of render view. Add in a gradient map. Just like that. Okay. Now we are gonna be making the plastic for the rest of the bottle. I just made a new material, which is a universal one. So I'll come over here to the albedo. Okay, that's the sort of black that we need. And remember one thing, in real life, nothing is absolute black. So never just go to your albedo and do like this. That's amateur mistake 101. Anyways, now we're going to be increasing our roughness. And what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to be adding a texture in towards the bump. So let me just add in a cinema 4D noise. Use 4D noise. And I'll open these two. Scale them all the way down. Just like that. And the noise that I'm going to be using is Booyah. I'll reconnect them, plug it in towards our bump, and increase the height. Perfect. You know what? I'll just lighten up the color a bit, just a tad bit. Just like that. Now I'm going to be linking this material towards the other part of the bottle. Link materials. Now come to think of it, it is a bit too much on the bumpy side. We'll decrease the bump to, let's say, 0.05, 0.1. Okay, this looks good. And let's just save it. And now we'll make the texture for the rubber. So it's pretty simple. We'll make another material for this, and the color that I'm going to be giving it is going to be green. I'll increase the roughness. And if I come down over here towards thin film, I'll just add that. Boom, look at that. That's a pretty good rubber material if I say so myself. Okay, we got that done. Now what we are going to be doing is we're going to be making the environment. So for the environment, we need the rocks. For that, I'll go to bridge again, go towards 3D assets. I'm going to be using these two stones. This is going to be the big one. So let me just open it up. And I'm going to be saving the file before I do anything. I'll take the bottle, rotation X 90, go towards our camera. I'll select this, put it towards 3D cursor, rotation X, because this is going to be a top-down shot that we are going to be recreating. And if I come over here, let's make it 1080 by 1920. And I'll zoom in a bit, just like this. Okay, so let me import the rock. We are looking for LOD0 over here. Import. Let me just put it back to the center. And before we do anything, let's just texture it. Let's add in a universal material. I'll just plug it right in. And if we go back to our rock over here, I'll take the albedo, drag it and drop it, plug it in towards our albedo. Let me open up these two, Control Shift D. I'll get our roughness, put it to 1. LOD 0. Okay, now I might have to change the color according to the theme, so I'll add in a color correction node. Here it is. I'll increase the brightness and reduce the saturation, just like that. So 1, 2. Now in this asset we actually have a groove, and I'm trying to put that groove around the bottle. So it seems like it's holding it. Okay. Now we could duplicate this, put it down. Now we just have to fill up these areas, and we have a few leaking areas, especially on this side. But we don't have to worry about that because the water is gonna come over here on this side anyways. So now we will take our second rock, which is gonna be this one, and we're gonna be using it very minimally. So let me just open it up. I'm still looking for LOD 0 port. Now let's texture this rock as well. I'll add in a universal texture, and I'll add in our first node for this one, which is going to be the albedo. Let's plug it in. Let's plug it in towards the roughness. Now normal, LOD 0. I forgot to put the legacy gamma to 1 for these ones, so I'll just do it right now. And this will also have a color correction node. Let's reduce the saturation a bit. And I'll also decrease the brightness for this rock. Just like that. Just put it like this. Rotation. And put the bottle somewhat like this. With this tab open. Just like that. And now we are gonna be cutting off the light and relighting everything from scratch. But before we do that, what we are gonna be doing is we're gonna be adding in the water. And it's pretty simple. We'll add in a cube, scale it on the Z axis, just put it down somewhat like this. Let's make a new material, delete this, add in a specular material. Let's plug it in and I'll make it a little bit of bluish tone. Affect shadows, affect alpha, allow caustics. And now we just have to find the right spot for the water. Now we could add in a bump over here. For that, I'll be adding in a fractal noise, just like that. I'll plug it in towards our bump, increase the height a bit. We'll have to scale it down. Okay, we'll just reduce this. Yep, we got flowing water. I'll just put it like this. Now what we are going to be doing is we are going to be reducing the saturation from this somewhere around. Okay, that looks realistic. Let me just zoom in towards the product. And it should be in the middle. Alrighty, guys, we're almost done with the render. But just to add like an extra kick to this render, we are going to be putting a logo over here. And it's a pretty simple thing. But for me personally, what I like to do in this situation is take I like to treat it as like a sticker where I'll just take it and shrink wrap onto it. So we're going to be doing that part. So let's just add in our mesh. I'll just scale it down. Should be right above our bottle. Let's make a new material. And we are going to be using an alpha image. And I'm going to be importing our logo. And for this example, we're going to be using Octane's logo. So I'll just plug it in towards the opacity. Let's just take it up a bit. I'll make this green. Not green, sorry, black. Just like that. Let's go to edit mode. Subdivide it a couple of times. Just like that. And if we come over here, shrink wrap, shade smooth. And now let's turn off the shadow for this. If we come over here, boom. Let's just put it to project. Let's offset it a bit. Okay, that looks really, really good. But is it in center? Nope. Now it is. And I'll add in some metallicness and I'll crank up the roughness. Shouldn't be totally black. You know what? Since this is going to be paint, it can be a bit more darker than the plastic. Okay, now let's work on our lights. So what we are going to be doing now is if we come over here, we'll kill the lights. First of all, we are going to be adding in an area light. Let's put this over here. Shift T to point it where we want to. It is going to be this angle, a bit down, and we will put it towards the 3D cursor. It should come from the top just like that. And now we need to put it to object and increase it just like that. Now for our second light, let's duplicate it. Control Shift Z so it doesn't go anywhere. Shift T. We'll put it somewhere around over here. Shift T. And let's decrease it. Instead of 100, this one should be 50. Just like that. And now we are going to be adding a touch of accent to this light. Blue. And if we go into our end panel, we'll turn our denoiser back on. And by the way, your denoising settings should be like this. If you are using, let's say, a volume, then you need to turn on this thing, denoise volumes. Otherwise, don't even think about touching it. And in our post-processing section, what do we got? I'll just add in a touch of bloom. Just like that. I'll just zoom in a bit more. I'll take the water. Just a tiny bit of roughness. And I'll reduce the bump 0.01. Point 1. And what we could do. Okay, so this is the last moment thing. Everything is looking good besides the water. It looks like slime. How can we fix that? Pretty simple. We'll come over here to medium, add in a random walk, and now we are going to be controlling it. So first of all, we'll take the volume steps and put it to 1000. Now we'll slowly start to reduce the density where we feel like, okay, this is the sort of water that we are looking for. Let's start with a value of 10. Okay, 8 looks pretty good, but what about 5? A bit more, less. 3? Okay, 3 looks really good. We'll decrease the bump now, 0.05. Hmm, let's decrease it a bit more, 1. Okay, 1 looks really, really good. So let's just save it up. Let's try one more thing. 1.8. Alrighty, 1.8 looks really good. Let's just check one thing. Okay, as suspected, we might have to push this rock down a bit. Now we'll take the water and reduce the bump a bit more. Or better, we could increase it 0.02, just like that. And yeah, we're done with this. Let's take it into Photoshop. Alrighty, guys, so we got our render into Photoshop. But what is the reason behind it? Well, a lot of the people, when they are done with their render and they just take it out of Blender, they're like, okay, we're good to go. But this is the part which can make your render shine. With a little bit of color grading and tweaking, it can go from here to here. So we're going to be taking our render from over here to over here. So buckle up tight. So first of all, we'll convert it into a smart object, and I'll open up camera raw filter. First things first, I'll add some clarity to it just to get the textures out. Now I'll add in a bit of a texture. Then I'll start adding in the vibrance, a bit of exposure. Now if we scroll down to effects, I'll add in a touch of grain. 5 is gonna be okay. Optics, we'll add in the vignette. Let's go back into our camera raw filter because I think we messed up. Decrease the contrast a bit. Push our blacks up a tad bit. Pick up our shadows. And what about our vignette? Optics. Okay, that looks good. I'll put my shadows and blacks back to their original spot. Now we could add in the 35 strip lot. Okay, that actually looks pretty good. The Bill and Ted lot, I'll just reduce the opacity to this. And one thing that we could do is to put our focus over here is I'll take these, Control J to duplicate them, right click, convert to smart object. Then I'll add in filter, blur, Gaussian blur, just a tiny bit. Make it a mask, invert it, increase it, blur this out, and if I press Control I and I'll press Control M, darken it up a bit, and boom, we have our render done. So in this chapter, we actually made an amazing product render. And in the next chapter, we are going to be making a micro shot of a pen and paper. So be prepared for that.